Where are the best beaches in the country? Is Manila any fun? Why do we put ice on cold beer? Time to answer those kinds of questions. Done in Philippine English, we dive into the quirks and what works in Philippine travel. This is Tropik Banter.
Thanks, Kim, and welcome everybody to Tropik Banter. My name is Bryan Ocampo, and with me today are my guests. Introducing you first to Patty Ceniza, one of our top guides in Intas Destinations. And I'm introducing you also to the director of Intas Destinations, Googie Sanga, who happens to be a restaurateur. So welcome everybody.
Woo. Hello.
So here we're going to talk about Filipino food. We'll go as far as we can in telling you about what people can expect from Filipino food and your recommendations, no? Because you come from a pretty interesting background. So maybe I can ask first, Patty, since you're a tour guide, what do you tell first people about Filipino food?
Well, to my guests, I always frame Filipino food as Spanish way of cooking, but using local ingredients in a way.
All right.
Okay.
How about you, Googie?
Well, how am I to frame Filipino food? It's different from north if you're traveling up north, and it's different down south. So, if I'm going to say, oh, you'll be north, the majority taste of that will be the bitter taste.
Bitter taste.
Yes.
And this is
Do
our
you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
because of like regional dishes, right? Because in the
Yes.
north, I think it's the Ilocos province that is
Yeah.
known for
Yes.
that, and
You have the papaitan.
papaitan, which is like what is papaitan?
Papaitan is more of using, because, okay, you have to remember, Filipinos, and its tribal form before, you have to eat everything,
Everything.
everything. Up north, since you're there up in the mountains, right? So your main thing is survival. So this papaitan, because I told you the main taste is bitter. So because and bakit siya bitter? You have to understand why is it bitter. You have that nga, right?
Yeah.
Diba? So and then you have the tobaccos.
The betel nut chewing, no, in the
Yes.
provinces, which is
And then-
popular.
And
Okay.
then you have the tobacco.
All right.
It's a tobacco country.
Right.
So tobacco the taste is earthy, very bitter. So more or less you've been accustomed to that, the earth taste. So when they make papaitan, so it comes with the blood.
Blood.
Yeah, yung offal blood and ano pa bang nilalagay with a
Offal?
little the innards of the goat.
The goat.
So that is the majority of the taste. Of course, you have the salt and you have the pepper and whatever, but majority of the taste of that is talagang pait. That's why it's called papaitan.
And Patty, no, I think you've taken a journalist around the streets of Manila and introduced her to Filipino food. Maybe you could share to our listeners how
Yeah.
it went.
Absolutely. So it was a project of the National Geographic magazine. They were trying to understand Filipino food in all of its different forms, from the humble home cooking to your casual restaurants to high-end Filipino food. So I was able to take that journalist in all the different areas of Manila so that she can try all forms of Filipino food.
Any dishes that you remember that she loved?
She absolutely loved the adobo that the wife of Sir Boyet from Santa Ana cooked.
To the uninitiated, and maybe Googie, you can chime in here. Okay, so what is adobo?
So adobo is considered the national food of the dish of the Philippines. So it's usually either pork or chicken marinated in soy sauce and vinegar with, of course, onions and your usual aromatics.
Googie,
Okay, go
adobo.
ahead.
Yeah, like if you're going to explain it to someone who doesn't have an idea about adobo, like how is it made? How is it prepared?
It's you stew chicken in vinegar. First you stew it in vinegar, then you add the soy. So when you say adobo, kasi like that's what, like you said, Spanish, diba? Without the vinegar. So in you really want to cook the pork and the chicken with the vinegar, and then you just add the layers,
Yeah.
the aromatics and all that. But it's different from up north
Yes.
and down south. Okay, why am I saying it's different? It's always different because each family is each family has its own recipe, has its own way of cooking adobo. Now, from up north, you have the white adobo without the
Soy
soy
sauce.
sauce, and I think down
To the cities.
yeah, down in the middle would be you'd be using fish sauce instead of toyo.
And a bit sweeter.
Oh, yeah. So, you can also in Negros, yun tama, be sweeter.
Negros,
That would be somewhat on the Chinese side. Very strong influence of Chinese.
I noticed
cuisine.
that there's a lot of influences in Philippine food. Care to mention a few of them for our listeners?
Yeah, so basically Filipino food, like the culture itself, is a mixture of different foreign influences. Like, for example, you have mainly the Spanish, because we were a colony for more than 300 years. The Chinese has also been coming to the Philippines even before the Spanish, so there's also that kind of influence. We were also colonized by the Americans, so a lot of American cuisine went into
Like fried chicken.
spam, hot dogs, and a bit of Japanese perhaps. But yeah, it is, you really cannot pinpoint what Filipino food is in one dish.
Wow, it's a long explanation, just to get it. Because like if you say Japanese, it's sushi right away.
Yes.
You mentioned like you were a trained chef, and I'm quite interested about what you went through when you were training, and maybe you had like an opportunity to introduce Filipino food among your peers. Maybe you could tell us how it went.
Okay. From the idea of this whole Divine podcast, you're saying Thai food is spicy. Vietnamese would be all the herbs. You cannot really pinpoint Filipino food, Filipino cuisine, simply because we're not landlocked. So we're a group of islands. So kumbaga, what separates us also joins us. So our very base would be stewing, sinugba, which is grilling, and simply steaming, right? The influences came later with frying and sautéing. That's the years, centuries. But our base is really those three, three types of cooking. So when I say Filipino food, I would say, if I were to introduce it first, I'll go way back, which would be your basic kinilaw.
Kinilaw.
And
Okay.
your grilled.
All right. So I'm going to ask further
your
about
steam.
kinilaw. Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about kinilaw.
Yes.
What is it and how is it prepared?
Okay, kinilaw is cooking it with acid, which would be coming from your calamansi,
Which is the Philippine lime.
Philippine lime,
Yeah.
or of course, definitely vinegar. So in the Philippines, we have different types of vinegar.
I remember coconut vinegar, sugarcane vinegar.
Yes.
So you mentioned vinegar. So
And banana.
Banana. Oh,
Yes.
okay. And for kinilaw, for each vinegar, the taste would be different. Is that it,
Yes.
or do you use a
Yes.
specific vinegar for dishes?
No, up north, what do you use? For
Basi.
there
Maybe
you go.
yeah.
Then in the
Sugar
middle,
cane, sorry, yeah.
sugar cane also here sa Negros, your Visayas area. In Mindanao would definitely be coconut. But majority would be coconut. Acceptable. Kumbaga, the taste is so acceptable that you know. But there are a lot of nuances with coconut. The way it's aged, from the start of fermentation up to the end, which is tuba.
Yeah.
So it will affect the taste of your kinilaw.
I also heard that kinilaw is that you, aside from cooking it, putting air quotes here, and also you're also cleaning it.
Yes.
So it's like the most basic thing, just to preserve the food, to keep the food longer, but it tastes better. I mean,
Yeah.
I also heard that if you keep adobo for a long time in your refrigerator,
Yeah, it develops the flavor.
Yeah.
and it tastes
So,
better, right?
Yeah. Anything you stew or you braise, the longer you have to age it first for the flavors to develop, because immediately right after you serve it, you're not gonna get the nuances
Yeah.
of all your aromatics.
Just sharing with our viewers and to everybody, no, because the pillars of, from what I read from the late Doreen Fernandez, no, like we have the basic palettes of the Philippine cuisine. You have sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. Sweet because of the obviously we like halo halo, which is it's a ice dessert that has like lots of like everything, like sweet things, no, like
Sweet beans, which
Sweet
is really
beans.
weird for
Oh, yeah.
foreigners.
jello, bananas, coconut shavings, sour because we also have this, my personal favorite. We're talking about favorites now, no? My personal favorite is actually sinigang, which is tamarind soup. Like because we eat with rice, always there, and that is my go-to comfort food. How about you guys? How about what's your go-to?
My go-to would be caldereta. And I'd like to emphasize on what Googie said, that if you braise something, it really develops the flavor.
So even caldereta?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the 2-day-old caldereta
Yes,
is better than freshly cooked
Sorry, we
caldereta.
need to elaborate. What is caldereta? Like how is it?
Caldereta is also a stew. Is it strictly beef? I think.
No.
I have goat.
You can do.
You can do whatever.
You can do whatever meat you
Okay.
want with caldereta.
So basically, but the base of the sauce is tomato sauce.
yes,
Yeah.
tomato sauce.
And I think you put like a liver in it, like a mashed liver, liver spread.
Liver spread.
So that's your go-to food,
Yes.
caldereta. How about you, Googie? What's your go-to Filipino food?
When I'm out and I'm back here, I'll always go with sinigang pork sinigang.
Yeah.
Okay, my pork sinigang is this. I want it thick. I want it thick with gabi. Right?
Gabi is a root crop. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a root crop. So the broth should be thickened with that. And I always love the sourness of kamyas.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Kamyas. Tamarind, sure, but kamyas.
How about
gives this
guava?
But you still have to support it with something sour. You'll have the flavor of guava, but you'll have to mix it with something sour.
Yeah.
You're from Mindanao, Cebu, or Mindanao, Visayas. No? I kind of noticed that the sinigang in these parts isn't too sour as for us, like
Yes,
in the
actually,
north, no?
actually, sir, in Mindanao, where I'm from, actually, the first time I ever tasted sinigang was when I was 16 years old in Manila, because sinigang is not a common soup where I'm from in northern Mindanao. It's always tinola,
Which is different.
different
From-
because it's the base is much more gingery, lemongrassy flavor. So the first time I tried sinigang, the sour soup that we're talking about, was already in Manila, because it's not really something common that we cook.
Correct.
If we decide to have soup, we'd rather have tinola, or we'd rather have pork ribs soup or something,
Right.
but never sour.
You're right. I agree.
Well-
It's Mindanao.
Mindanao.
Yeah.
So again, sweet, sour, salty, because we're surrounded by bodies of water, dried fish.
Yes.
And I think to, like people in the West, no, like the smell of dried fish is revolting. But for us, it's like blue cheese, no? Because, blue
Yes.
cheese, for us, it doesn't really register, like it's not good. Sour, salty, and then bitter. You mentioned earlier about
Yes,
bitter, which is
yes,
papaitan.
papaitan.
And yeah.
Okay, because diba, we're very tribal. We're very close to nature. So we use everything. So we like it's like a feast for us to kill a pig. It's not abundant, right? It's not like also beef. It's not abundant. So it has to be a special.
So you have to
occasion.
improvise, huh?
Yeah, you have to use up everything. Otherwise,
That's true.
diba? You not be able to feed your entire barangay. You kill a pig. You have to feed the entire barangay.
I noticed that. No? I just to share, no, like in Banawe, in the rice terraces, whenever they have a feast, they would slaughter a carabao.
Correct.
and they part it with their neighbors and their community.
That's called what. So
What.
they have to share.
Yeah.
For example, if there's a funeral, there's a wedding.
Yeah.
They really have to save a lot of money because aside from feeding the people who will go to the celebration, as a parting gift, they have to give them half a kilo or a kilo of meat.
Do you agree with this statement? Filipino food is more than balut.
Of course, absolutely. I don't even eat
Who
balut.
said that?
Because sometimes I notice like when I watched this episode by in Fear Factor, and they showed like eating balut. And it's not a problem to me. I won't even eat it. But I don't know. I mean, some people they've kind of compartmentalized Filipino food. The exotic one is balut, but it's more than that. That's what I try to like tell people, no? Because sometimes I get people when we walk around so proud like showing you that. No, I mean it's okay, but it's not my thing. No? But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an effect of Filipino food not breaking into the mainstream.
Yeah,
So
I think so too.
Yeah,
Aren't
only
we
foreigners?
are we very effective promoters? It seems to be that we try to like highlight those things that are too controversial. That's what I noticed.
I think the problem with promoting a specific promotion of Filipino cuisine is just that because it's so layered, you don't have a specific dish to describe as Filipino. Like Thai. When you say Thailand,
Tom yum.
tom yum,
Pad Thai.
or
Pad Thai.
spicy. Like your taglines. Thai
Spicy.
Vietnamese herby, Peranakan, curry, Indian, not curry, masala, right? So, Filipino,
Where?
yeah. How do you promote Filipino
Wow,
food?
and it's so like
It's the age-old
diba,
question.
diba?
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like, give me something that will stick when you think Filipino cuisine.
You know what? For me, like my go-to, it's so bad for your health that it's so good. I don't know.
My go-to, it's brown.
Brown, yeah. I mean,
It's
brown. and
definitely
oily.
brown.
Yeah, and
It's the brown beauty.
yeah,
cuisine.
and sometimes people have a problem with presentation. No?
Correct.
Like you eat with your eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you see it's not attractive enough, why would I try it? No, and then
Exactly.
like for example, I would probably say this dish called in Bicol, laing.
Laing.
Laing is like taro leaves with coconut milk and fish paste. You cook it, smells good and everything. But if you look at it, will I
Yeah.
eat that? Like it's
It's
but
mushy.
mushy. And then you mix it with rice. I don't know if, again, the color of the rice and the color of that would enhance it or to make it very, very worth it. But one thing I found out among British passengers, we took them to Bicol. We're surprised to find out that they love Bicol Express
Ooh.
or coconut based dishes. That's what I noticed.
Correct. I would suspect they've been to Malaysia. That is if you go down further south, we have our dishes in Mindanao. They have a very strong influence. Mindanao cuisine has a very strong influence of Peranakan, Malaysia.
Because there are no borders, no?
No, well, because we're really closer to we're closer.
Yeah.
We're the real Southeast Asian. Our island is the real Southeast Asian part of Southeast Asia.
In Mindanao, ah.
North would be your Japan, Taiwan, Chinese, diba?
That's
You're
true.
closer to that in terms of taste also. So, if you think of coconut, diba? You're more likely be thinking southern part already. You're going south, not north.
That's
Um,
true.
No?
Yeah. I also I'm trying to remember this though. There was a question earlier. One it escaped me. Anyway, Chinese food, because sometimes whenever we have visitors in Manila, we bring them to Chinatown. So my question is it Chinese food or is it Filipino food? What is it really? Because you said earlier about influences coming here. But is that counted as Filipino food as well? The food served in Binondo?
Well, it really depends on who you ask. If you ask the people who own the restaurants in Binondo, they're really proud that it's Chinese Filipino food. The taste has evolved to cater to the Filipino palate as well. Like, for example, if you eat pure Chinese food, you'll notice the Sichuan pepper strong taste. But in Binondo, most of the stir-fried dishes there are kind of sweet already. So it caters, it's
So our
going
palate,
to...
it's Filipinized.
So it's going to Philippine territory already.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I agree. It's completely like that. Okay. And this, we have to be proud of that because the international cuisines coming into the Philippines, like, okay, let's go the basic McDonald's.
Oh, I love McDonald's.
Yeah,
Okay,
me too. I love
it.
it. It could never compete with Jollibee. That's why it.
Oh, by the way, we're not
we're not supporting
by
it.
Jollibee.
Yeah, we're not promoting. It's a very clear example that McDonald's had to adopt to survive in the Philippine market.
Case in point, spaghetti in McDonald's.
Correct. So the same thing with any other cuisine. Those cuisines will be adapted to Filipino taste. Meaning, because our taste is so diverse, right? So, no singular dish will say it's not been Filipinized. We don't adapt to Chinese food. Chinese food
Adapt.
will have to adapt to us. No, it's true.
It's true. Yeah, they have to
Just like the spaghetti, I mean, it may drive the Italians crazy.
Yeah,
but
putting hot dogs in it. Oh.
Yeah.
True.
You want to open an
I
Italian
agree.
restaurant here. You're going to market to the Filipinos. You got to adapt to the taste.
There are 3 places in the world that loves spam. That's Guam, Hawaii, and the Philippines. Could you please explain to people why in this part of the world we love spam?
Well,
And by the way, we're not promoted by spam. Okay, yeah.
but they could. Well, spam was generally introduced to the Philippines during the American period. So during the war, it was really one of the food items that kept people alive. So it was really their daily food to be able to survive, even years after
Rations,
the war.
rations.
So
These are
rations.
yeah.
So it was basically an everyday item for most of the Filipinos. So I think spam to the older generation equates to resilience or survival or something. And then in the new generation, actually spam tastes good. I
love spam.
Yeah.
Is that really Guam? And
Yeah.
that's where this dish thing originated. The spam
Musubi. Yeah, with rice.
in Guam,
Guam.
not in Hawaii.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it's popular there in both islands.
I mean, whenever I describe this to my guests, because also I'm a guide, I get judged.
We love spam.
We love spam, but again, proud spam lover. But yeah.
But I think that emanates from because Filipinos don't live to eat. We eat to live. So it really is because spam is easy to carry.
Yeah.
You can cook a lot of dishes with it. You open
It
one
goes
can of
well with
spam.
rice.
Exactly.
I think. I mean, I'm Gen X. You guys are Gen Y, right? Yeah, okay.
I'm, ex-millennial. Yeah.
Okay. So we transitioned from the boomer generation and the silent generation. I say during the war, spam was the colonizing item of the Americans.
Aside from chocolates.
Corned beef.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take me.
Okay. So, the lotions.
Yeah.
All those items. Instead of killing us or whatever, it was their way of colonizing us, taking us out of. No, it's true. Taking us out of the Spanish mentality. So we became Hollywood.
So we associate the good things in life with the spam cans.
Exactly,
and,
yes.
Yes. It's
Coca-Cola.
It's not the good thing. It was just, it was passed on. It was easier for the generation before us
Yeah.
to pass this on. Number one, we were so Americanized. How many decades?
For 40 years.
Yeah. So when did we start getting out of it?
After the war.
Okay, this will connect to you being travel people, right? So when the skies opened up, freedom to fly. That was during the 80s, the 90s. That's when majority of the Filipinos started experimenting with other dishes.
That's true.
Oh, we started learning. We started learning of cuisines from China, Malaysia. I mean, our basic understanding of Chinese cuisines like xiaopao, siomai, the basic. But really learning the different types of Chinese was just during the 80s, the 90s.
When things
especially
are starting to
2000.
open up.
Yeah. The boom of travel was what? 2010, 2011. Everybody started becoming so, wow, I have pink pepper, and then I ate burger with foie gras.
Foie gras.
Yeah. Burger foie gras. Yeah. So everybody started learning, oh, my God, pala, we have all these choices in the world, and everybody na, even if you're 20 years old now, you're an expert in cuisine. I don't understand, but sige na lang. Okay, everyone's a foodie. Okay.
Here's the thing, about my observation about our food. We love meat so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Really?
It's not complete, man. It's not complete without meat.
Are you talking meat, carne?
Anything
meat,
like
beef?
like beef, pork,
Pork.
chicken,
Yeah.
fish.
Fish.
Yeah. Like you cannot. It's like incomplete. No, it's complete. It's not complete without it.
Yeah.
It's the sign of the times. Back then, when things weren't, we were still reeling from the war and all that. It was a very expensive item to have. That's why when it's special, they bring out corned beef. Back then, right? So remember yung langhap sarap, you smell the taste. When you're poor before, as long as you can smell the beef,
It wafts
you
it.
eat it with the rice, right? That's where the term langhap sarap from beef when Jollibee started, because everybody could relate that when you say langhap sarap, this is already a hamburger beef.
Jollibee is the leading fast food chain in the country,
Yes.
and I believe it started out as an ice cream parlor, and then until they started introducing
Burgers.
burgers and everything. No? Because I also heard from our guests that they see a lot of fast food chains here. Care to explain why it's very popular? Like when you go to any kilometer, you might see a KFC or probably McDonald's.
Okay. Just the history. Way back in the 80s, there were not really a lot. You had Big Daddy. The ones who really, you had Arby's and all that. The ones who really stayed on to be in the Philippines were McDonald's and KFC. Wendy's never really boomed, but Wendy's is still here, right? Wendy's. Why? Americano eh. It's the American influence. I mean, anything American back then, we would buy. We consume anything American, right? But now, when we started saying, okay, Filipino, and when Jollibee started competing with McDonald's, that's when it, made us all realize, hey, we can also do fast food our way. Came inasal, mang inasal,
Chicken barbecue.
yeah, all of that. You can distribute it all over the island. This concept of barbecue. Hindi na siya yung barbecue, street barbecue. Hindi na siya street food, can become
Yeah.
fast food.
Fast food.
Elevated.
I was about to ask you the same question as Google.
Love affair with meat.
Yeah.
It would-
Well, why?
So,
Why?
yeah,
Why?
I have one really funny story about
Yeah.
it because I had British guests who were vegetarian.
Mm.
So I had to ask a local kitchen in Banawe to just prepare vegetables. And then when the dishes came out, yes, they were vegetables, but it had like 3 pieces of meat in the dish.
And when you went back to the kitchen,
Yeah.
like what happened?
So I had to ask them, I'm sorry, I cannot serve this because my guests are vegetarian. And then they told me, oh, you can just then remove the 3 pieces of meat. And then... So yeah, I think in terms of vegetarianism, the understanding of Filipinos is really still a bit limited.
Yeah,
In
not
the
yet
big
there,
cities, there it's really more,
Or even vegan, because vegan is a
Yeah.
place here, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Correct.
So another funny story, like vegan longanisa. So
oh god, okay. Go,
they were asking foreigners what to try. The tourists were asking what to try in Ilocos.
Ilocos
And then
yeah.
they told their friends that they were vegans, and then they told them, "Oh, you then need to try vegan longanisa," and they did.
I have a question. Are vegetarians and vegans welcome to the Philippines?
We try hard to cater to them, but in the islands, it's really difficult. Because I think Filipinos really cannot imagine a meal without meat
Or rice?
or rice.
Well, I think, I mean, in Davao, there is a restaurant that's vegan, purely vegan. See, who's the owner of, I forgot her name, Bo Cafe.
Bo's Cafe, yeah.
Yeah, she's into that. So she promotes a vegan restaurant. She has a lot, I think, all over the Philippines. I think.
You think?
It's
Well,
just me.
so maybe, like for me, I welcome it. Like I welcome all sorts of restaurants as long as it's good. I don't need the agenda. I just need like the
Yeah,
flavor.
good food.
If it's really good, regardless of where like
Yeah.
I'll eat it.
You don't need a thesis about
I no
where
like
it's-
even like
Yeah.
making me feel bad that I consume meat. No.
Well, you had the group in Davao
Mm.
one time, and 3 guests were vegan, and we said, sure, we'll give you suha salad. That's it. That's all we can offer you.
Patty, in your trips, like what do you do in case you have people who are either difficult to feed because that's part of our job, or they have a very strict dietary requirement, and you have to also match it with what's around in the
Yes.
Philippines.
So it really is common to encounter those kinds of guests. Not really picky or difficult, but they have religious considerations. They have dietary restrictions. So whenever we start a trip, before we leave Manila, I really ask them if there are serious food considerations that I need to know, because it's really difficult to find out these considerations once you're in the mountains already. So at least we can buy bread, like gluten-free bread in Manila. We can buy tofu. We can buy seasoning, salad dressings that are okay with them, that doesn't have gluten or anything. Like some people even have soy allergies. So I really try hard to find out before we do like a 5-day trekking trip, because once you're in Banawe, for example, it really is just you really cannot find the vegetarian idea in Banawe is 1
Alien.
kilo of vegetables with 3 pieces of meat. So I try to bring what I can from Manila because there's more options here.
How about eggs? I mean, that's what I would probably recommend, unless they're vegan,
Yeah.
because that's hard, no? If it's too many things. I'd like to know, since you've worked in Southeast Asia, like in Singapore, where do you think Filipino food stands now among the cuisines in the places that you've visited?
We're up there. We're really up there. We I think what's wrong with us because we're so passive and we're more of proud to know. Okay, we lack promoting our own cuisine. I think that's my comment.
Okay.
That's my opinion. As Filipinos, we don't really promote our own cuisine.
When you say promote, like try this, or I think as a people we invite people to try
Yeah,
it, right? But
yeah.
what do you mean like promoting? Like in
Just
mass media
marketing,
and
yeah.
marketing, is that
Yeah,
it?
and marketing. Sige, show me something, a promotion of any Filipino organization way back. Ano?
About Filipino food.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
correct. Diba sa time lang ni Secretary Romulo?
I think Secretary Jimenez, Madrid Fusion. I don't know if that's
Yeah. But that's
that's
just
yeah
recently.
recently, but
Yeah.
a long time
Long
ago.
time. Not really. And if we promote it, it's just amongst ourselves.
Exactly.
So it's very
It's very tribal. It's just
Insular.
amongst ourselves.
Very insular, no?
Very insular. So even when you go to Europe,
Mm.
the only thing that will come to their head is bagoong. Because we will
The
fry
smell. The
bagoong
smell,
and
no?
everybody's like going
Or
nuts.
nuts. No? Your blue cheese, no, we
Yeah.
don't like it too. But, yeah.
But look at the promotion of Thailand.
Mm.
Look at the promotion of India. Right?
Okay, here, I'll come up with a very bold statement here and you might get angry, but I'll go with it, okay?
Okay.
In Thailand, they have like standard ingredients. No? For
Yes.
pad thai, you have like a measure of this and that. The problem sometimes whenever you say like adobo, we talked about it earlier, there are different types of adobo. I mean, come on. I mean, I want to make adobo, so am I doing it right? Is it something that is acceptable to the broad many?
Yeah.
Is it adobo enough?
Is it adobo?
Yeah,
enough?
because again, pad thai, like the ingredients, it's already set. You know what's coming. But adobo, like it's different from one's
Yes.
household to the other.
Yes. That's the beauty of Philippine cuisine. Eh.
Yeah.
Everyone's a critic. Eh. Everyone, everyone
true.
has, everybody
true.
has its own recipe of the classics. But what's your base, diba? Your
Yeah.
base is cooking it well with vinegar. Whatever you put in there, as long as you cook it well with vinegar, you're fine with your adobo.
Yeah.
It's not a soy dish. It's really the vinegar that gives it character.
Damn, okay.
And when somebody tells you cook it and they say, hilaw. Okay. It's uncooked. It's not cooked well. Your vinegar's not cooked well. Your adobo's a failure.
Okay.
Diba?
I think I
You
get
get
I
it?
get it
Okay.
now. I'll get
Right.
it. Patty, what's in?
Well, yeah, even amongst ourselves, there's this competition who cooks the best adobo, who does the better longanisa.
Correct.
Like for example, I have my own biases. I don't like Manila lechon at all.
Lechon is suckling pig, right?
Me too.
Oh, okay. Those are fighting words, but I
Yes.
need you to explain. Explain, Patty, why you don't like Manila lechon.
So lechon, for those who don't know, is a whole roasted suckling pig.
Yes.
It's a staple for any celebration in the Philippines, whether it be in the rich families or poor families. Lechon is always a staple. Lechon for me needs to be perfect on its own. It doesn't need gravy. Like
Correct.
I do not need a sauce to make it better.
Yes.
It has to be perfect in and of itself. Because
Great.
Manila lechon for me is a bit bland. It doesn't have a lot of herbs inside.
Yes.
And I think about 70% of the deliciousness will come from their so-called sarsa, and I don't like it.
Okay. I'll comment on that.
Go.
I have been interviewed about what is it that clicks with me in terms of food in Mindanao. I say it's always pork. Connecting
But-
that to
oh.
lechon. Okay. Okay, here's why. Why Mindanao lechon is probably the best lechon in the Philippines. Simply because pork is free range. Eh. Pork is fed with the coconut trunk. It's not fed with your basic feeds with chemicals. This is your original free range. So when you cook it, it has this distinct taste together with the herbs, meaning lemongrass, whatever, yung scallions or your garlic or whatever, or your milk. So it gives, the way it blends with all the herbs. Our pigs from Mindanao is really, really very tasty. Why is it that you cannot bring in pork from the north into Mindanao because there's something wrong with the pork up north, right? That's why you need to
No
have a
shade
lot
to
of
those people living in the north.
yeah. No, that's why you need to have a lot of sarsa for that. You have to cover it
Yeah,
up.
no, that's what I noticed. So unadulterated pork, like it's
Yeah.
just
Correct.
like in
Go
its
to Mindanao.
porkiness, like in its divine.
Yes.
So, wow.
I think I'm biased. I think our pork in Mindanao can compete with the one in Japan, Kurubuta, or the one in Spain. That's my opinion.
I'm not going there like Mindanao, but Mindanao is like they say it's Muslim, but it's not entirely Muslim.
not at
Okay,
all,
so
Not at all.
yeah,
Not at
okay, because pork is it's haram.
all. Eastern part, majority Christian. Western part, majority Muslim.
Muslims. Okay, so that's just to make it clear. Okay, because
Yes.
people think that Mindanao is wholly Muslim. No,
No.
right? You were about to say something, Matty?
Well, yeah. There really are biases amongst Filipinos. Like,
Yeah.
I
For
mean,
example,
just like us,
okay,
you know.
yeah. For
and we're
example,
very passionate.
Yeah.
there's also like culinary capitals. I
Yes.
put a letter S in it, no, because I'm half Kapampangan. I'm from Pampanga, which is like a province north of Manila, 2 hours away, and they're all known for their cuisine. But there's also a place like Negros and Iloilo. No? So again, to each his own. There's like the best dessert, the best halo-halo, the best lechon, the best this or that. But don't you think this kind of attitude, instead of like raising, Filipino food altogether, is like, we pull each other down. I don't know, but
No, I think it's a matter of reconceptualizing the competitiveness of the regions. I like Pampangana cuisine. It's very good. It's on the sweet side. And you go down to Negros, they're also on the sweet side. But, the flavors are totally different. Because what is endemic is in one area, that's what's mostly
Exactly.
used. In you have ingredients in Negros. It's only found in Negros. You have ingredients. Okay, we're not competitive in Mindanao in terms of cuisine. We have our lechon, but we're getting there. But we have ingredients like you can only find in Mindanao that's quite used, like palapa in Lana.
that's good.
Yeah, it's really good. But we're only so stuck with thinking of it as palapa. But si bujing, the main ingredient of that, it has a lot of uses. A lot of
Sorry,
uses.
Googie, I need to interrupt that. What is palapa?
Okay, palapa is a condiment made by people from Lanao del Sur. Okay, it's made from this type of scallion only found in Lanao, and they call it sibujing, sakurab. Don't even make me go to the
Okay. Yeah, just
that's
kidding.
not the scientific
Yeah,
name.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But the taste is milder than the scallion, higher than milder than the onion. It's just smack in the middle of onion and scallion. But you have that sweetness. And the way they mix it together with the spice, because we're spicy in the western side. It's very spicy. You mix that also with coconut, and you fry it, you stew that, you just caramelize everything. It has a very distinct Maranao
I
taste.
tried it before. It's
Yeah,
so good.
it's very distinct, and and because it's seasonal, it's quite expensive. So, but now that we're so aware, there's so many chefs, cooks, they can start using all these ingredients, and you promote it. We're not one specific one specific adjective or one specific description as a cuisine. You know, we're very savory. You know, that's what we are. We're nuanced. It's a nuanced cuisine. So we have a lot of layers. You know, you go to his province, they do things differently. You go to Davao, we do things differently. We like to use a lot of spices. Up here, you like to use all the aromatics with sugar, always with sugar.
Always with sugar.
Yeah, always with sugar. And in Cebu, where everything is so developed, so it's so mixed like a melting pot. You know, everything is there. The umami, the bitter, the sweetness, the sourness. You know, the saltiness. But take out salt in everything. It's not Filipino cuisine.
True.
You're about to add something?
Well, yeah, just going back, I think my take on why Filipino cuisine is not really well known to the outside world, outside the Philippines. Because if you take a look at the more popular Southeast Asian cuisines, for example, in London or in the US, it's always the group of immigrants that don't really speak good English. And then they have to look for jobs that are manual labor, and then they open a restaurant to cater the immigrant population. So, for example, you have the Thais, the Vietnamese. But when Filipinos were starting to migrate outside the Philippines to look for jobs, for example, after the war, the Philippines' English proficiency were already high. So when they go to America, for example, they work in the service industry, they work in hospitals, which pay a lot more higher. So they did not have the opportunity, they did not feel the need to open restaurants because economically speaking, they didn't have to anymore. And then, of course, with our influence from the Americans, we were able to
Assimilate, right?
Yeah, assimilate easily.
Easily, yeah.
So that's why you have a lot of Filipino restaurants now. But when globalization was starting to happen after the war, it wasn't really a need for the Filipinos.
What I'm getting from you is like English has turned out to be a disadvantage for us to promote
I would say.
our culture.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
case. Oh, wow.
Well, from a different perspective, I really think, we lack promoting Filipino cuisine. We're so promoting
Dishes. That's true.
That's,
Correct.
We're so into promoting adobo. We're so into promoting sinigang. But what is Filipino cuisine? Diba? Nobody promoted it as a cuisine until later on. Siguro a few years back, I think. Few years back. So, they started doing all these regional dishes with, I was part of that. I encountered that. I was part of Madrid Fusion. Come on. You're promoting also Filipino. Why is Madrid the main title of, diba, the event? It's Madrid Fusion. Where's Filipino there? That alone. Event in the Philippines. Majority Filipino dishes. Why is it called Madrid Fusion? So tell me. You go to Thailand. They'll never agree without Thai there. You're not gonna call it Madrid Fusion without Thai food. Mayabang sila. I mean, they're proud. We also have to follow our neighbors, how they're promoting their dishes. Singapore alone. What is Singapore dish?
Chili crab.
Peranakan.
Peranakan, yeah.
Yeah, like
How were they able to distinguish themselves from Malaysia? They're just together. Ticket sila. They're
True.
landlocked. Oh, but they called it Singapore cuisine.
Yeah, chicken
Singapore
rice,
dish, yeah.
which is
but
a
you find
deconstructed
that in Malaysia, di
tinola.
ba? You find their dishes in Malaysia. So, How come they're promoting it
Yeah,
very
like for
well?
example, laksa is it's a hot topic between the two countries. No,
Correct.
like Singaporean laksa is better than Malaysian laksa,
Well,
or
what's
vice
the
versa.
difference? The same ingredients. It's the way you're promoting it. The way you're owning it. How come we're
Maybe
not... Yun lang ang ano
Is it
ko.
because like, again, it's about also identity? We're not yet too confident about who we are because we're like a lot of things.
I'll
and
give
some-
it to Toyo.
yeah. Sorry,
Toyo.
Toyo Eatery.
Yeah, I'll give it to him.
Okay,
He
so
put us there.
Chef Jordy. Yeah.
Yes, he put us there.
He's from Butuan, by the way.
Butuan?
Yeah.
Butuan pala yun?
Yes.
Okay.
It's from there. Sorry, I cut you
Yeah, yeah.
off. but,
No.
you know,
Yeah.
This is my frustration Kasi everybody's so interested. Like, there's a chef, Bryan in
yeah.
Singapore.
He wrote a book.
Yeah. You know him?
Well, I know his work.
His work, yeah. He's so into regional dishes.
Yeah.
He does when
Research.
he does his thing in Singapore. He does his food tasting. Tasting menu. He would do Filipino. He would do Malaysian. He would do Vietnamese. He would do, but Filipino is there. He's promoting Filipino dishes there in Singapore. He loves it. He likes it. When you read his book, he wrote a book about that. I mean, diba? Bakit? It's a matter of presenting it to the world. Tignan mo si if you watch The Bear. Do you watch The
Oh,
Bear?
I love the bear.
Okay. What's the restaurant there?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it's in the Chicago restaurant. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Michelin star, di ba? But what are they cooking there?
Longanisa.
Ceniza.
Yeah.
Oh, ano pa? Di ba, the basic Filipino, but they're Michelin stars.
Yeah, man.
Di ba? So what's the lasa or tikim or whatever? So we have to go with taste because we cannot go with a specific dish. So I think really when you say Thai spice or Vietnamese herbs or Filipino, we're just very tasty. We're tasty.
Filipino tasty.
Yeah.
Not the bread, but
the bread.
Sabor. Sabrosa. Savory. I think it's there. It's the taste.
All right. So
That's me. Sorry.
Do you want to
Okay.
add some more or?
Yeah, I think another point, Turby, would be the best meals that you have in the Philippines are never in restaurants. It's always in
Yes.
homes. It's always in private gatherings. And I think that's a shame, but it really
It's a
is the truth.
gatekeeping, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
how
there
can
are
you, how
good
can you win over
restaurants.
people? No? For example, I'll be sharp with this criticism. No?
Yeah.
The food in Thailand is like it's good and it's available everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how come here they say it's good, but where?
Yeah.
In my house,
My mom.
my mom.
That's our tribal
Yeah,
That's our
yeah.
tribal instinct. And yung primal instinct mo is my mom cooks the best.
Yeah.
Better than
Better.
yours.
Exactly. So, if you're going to promote that's why in my restaurant, I would always tell them, this is my Lola's chili. So, everyone calls it Lola's sile. Sile ni Lola, si sile ni Lola, the chili of my grandmother. Or this is the achuete of my grandmother. I would always connect it with my grandmother. Why? Because, ganun I think it's our culture. Diba? Come on, guys. You teach me. Because how are you going to promote? You're the promoters of the Philippines. You sell the Philippines. We're very cultural in terms of our eating habits.
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing.
It's a cultural
Right.
thing. Like
It's-
even like when we greet someone, have you
Yeah.
eaten already? Huh?
Because when we celebrate, it's always with food.
Yeah.
Right? It's not drinking.
Yeah.
It's always with food. Everybody, food.
Sharing, huh?
Yeah.
You go to All Saints Day or All Souls Day.
Yeah.
You do not only visit the dead, but you bring lots and lots of food,
Food.
and you put it on top of like the niche. No?
So we're the original food people. Okay? So how do you describe that? Are you gonna describe Philippines is adobo? It's not.
You cannot put it in
You
one.
cannot.
That's hard. So how do you promote it then? I mean, damn. Okay.
Oh, ano bang tagline? What's the tagline when it comes to cuisine? Basta ako, we're savory. We're not the sweet, the cutie. We're flavors. Like who said that island flavors? That's it. We're just so it's different north, it's different in the middle, it's different in the south, but it's full of flavors. I mean, there are 10 million ways to skin a coconut. You can come up with 10 million dishes of coconut and it would still be Filipino. Di ba? Oh, parang saging. 10 million ways to cook saging.
Bananas, yeah.
Yeah. You own it. We own it. Right? Sile, we own it. Chilies, we own it.
You know, like one of the things that I'm proud of when I say like Filipino food, like we're good with pork and grilling. And also like the dipping sauces, we know the right
Yeah.
combination that goes with it. It hits that spot.
Exactly.
Correct. Correct. So we have all this, that's why we have all these different types of suka.
Vinegar.
What are the different types of vinegar?
Sugar cane.
Sugarcane,
No.
coconut.
You have your
Paumbong.
Paumbong. Oh, yeah,
right?
from different places. Yeah.
Then to north, how do they ferment that, right? So it's the way you ferment it and the way you spice it up. You have
Sinamak.
cinnamon.
I love sinamak.
Yeah. So and at what age do you serve it already as vinegar? And then what age do you want to use it for cooking? So we're so it's simply complicated.
Yeah.
It's so hard to. How can we promote it anyway? How about you guys walk our listeners through Filipino food that you would have for breakfast? What would it be?
For breakfast, garlic rice and Davao longanisa. There's this brand, Clary King. I'm not sure if I'm
Davao
saying it correctly, but
longanisa.
Davao longanisa. I miss it so much.
And you paired it with which beverage?
3-in-1 coffee.
Okay. How about you, Googie breakfast?
I'm very simple. I just go with egg and corned beef. That's it. It has to be pure foods.
So
Got
we're
to
not
be
promoting pure
We're
foods,
not
but
promoting pure foods, but
yeah.
it's really, I think it's for me, that's my go-to breakfast. But of course, I'll always go with some buanga sardinas also.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lunch.
Lunch. Nilatan na baka
Okay,
or
need to translate that. Yeah.
or beef soup.
Beef soup.
Yeah. With saba banana and ginger.
Saba is like the thick bananas.
Yeah, like they call it kitchen bananas.
Kitchen bananas. Okay. Lunch.
Lunch, I created my version of rendang. That's my go-to.
Ooh.
Rendang using sibujing, palapa.
Wow.
Is it served
that's
in your
coconut-
restaurant?
Yes, it's coconut. It's coconut based, and it's the ribs of tajang, the ribs of beef ribs.
Desserts.
Desserts. Ooh. Oh my goodness.
So after that hearty meal, what comes next?
Brazo de Mercedes.
How about you?
Halo-halo.
Halo. So, merienda. Merienda is like the in-between meals. It's like tea time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maruya.
Maruya, what's Maruya?
It's saba bananas. They cut it into like a fan shape. They dip it in a batter and then they deep fry it. And then with white sugar,
Heaven.
perfect. With orange juice.
Zesto.
Yeah.
I'll go
Merienda.
with my merienda would be bami. It's a combination of noodles. You have
It's not pancit, huh?
huh?
It's not pancit.
Well, it's pancit. Pancit is the general term of
Okay, noodle dish,
Yeah,
yeah.
noodle dish. So it's a combination of two types of noodles. You have the egg noodles and the rice noodles.
Bami.
Bami.
Okay.
You mix of pork, chicken, and achuete. Yeah.
Dinner.
Bacolod chicken inasal.
Chicken barbecue.
Yeah.
Okay. Googie dinner?
Lechon. I'm from Mindanao. We can have it anytime, any day.
Last question.
Available.
Midnight snack.
Midnight snack. Ooh. Pares.
What is Paris?
Pares is a beef stew. I think the flavor I would say would be soy sauce, and five spice, and star anise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Midnight snack.
Balut.
I thought we were not going to talk 18-day-old chick.
Yes.
Not 16.
Not my
Wow,
favorite thing, but you know, it's
adventurous.
part of our cuisine, so yeah. All right, so any last messages before we wrap up, guys, about Filipino food, why people should try it?
People should try it because it's the next big thing.
I'll top that. It's not the next, it's the big thing now. Filipino food. I mean, everyone's noticing Filipino food. Try it for its nuances. You'll be able to distinguish all the complications of the taste. And it's really good. It's different from, it will have its, you'll be able to determine the roots, the influences, but it's still distinctly Filipino. There you go.
There you have it, guys. So thank you very much, listeners, again, for spending time for us talking about Filipino food.
Yeah.
This is Tropik Banter. Bye-bye.